right. That'll be good.
Well, we did send out the link ahead of time.
You did?
Yeah. So is this a PC or? Yes. Yes. So there's 12 steps that we're going to show you, and step 12 is you're happy enough to send it up.
John, maybe you should ask people the whole questions.
Yeah.
And we can take it all out.
Right, we have Q&A at the end.
Yeah.
So that's the timeline, the big picture, which we probably explain this. You have it, the software, it goes up into a cloud. Here, actually, it's a server here in California, and you can run the, if you select like MP4, it's pretty flexible on all types of devices. We're now doing a discovery whether I can run this. This is a little more detailed. What we're doing here is 30 copies of this software. They all run through our IEEE server. This is the one that we bought. IEEE bought the cheapest version, the low performance one, but we can up it, double it, depending on complaints. And right now we're configuring it as MP4. If someone has some other suggestions, we can create profiles, and Ted and I will design profiles for the typical technical meeting. And this license is putting things on something called screencast.com. Our plan in the future is to have a cheaper, more high performance cloud server for movies in general. But one thought was we'd keep it back on an IEEE server, but we still have better control using our vendor. What the university people do, they like to use iTunes University. So I'm having Ron up here to go through the science of audio, the art and science of audio.
Mostly art. Okay, so, yeah, so, okay,
Yeah, keep that one.
okay. This is, we're actually using the hardware that we're talking about right here. I happen to have one of the boxes here. It's really pretty straightforward. It supports 2 microphones. You have 2 independent gains for those microphones, so that you can actually use the box as a standalone device.
One is one you can have the speaker, one for the question.
Exactly. I think everybody heard that. You have one for the speaker and one for the questions. Now, there are 3 outputs on the back, okay? And we'll talk about those in a moment. One thing, some people have talked about using a built-in laptop microphone. That really doesn't work very well. Basically because as you move to and away from it, and as people turn their heads to look at the screen, use a laser pointer or what have you, and even you'll notice with this lavalier mic, as I turn my head, the volume goes down. That's, and we'll talk about that more in a moment. So there are 3 ways to do this. You can use a fixed stand with this mic right here, and If you notice, both of these are on, but we're not having any problem with both of them on, even though we're right here together. Okay. So you can do that. You can use the lavalier mic as I'm using now, or you can use the headset. If you have a single speaker, the headset is the best approach because as he turns his head, the mic stays with him. All right? So the level stays the same no matter what the speaker does. He can walk around and so forth. And we'll talk more about levels in a moment. But basically, you set this up in accordance with the manual. It's really dead simple. You attach the two antennas, you plug it into power, and you figure out which output you get. So I mentioned is that people will very often start out either over loud or too softly. And then they change with time. That's why it's useful to have the mixer and or to have access to these controls so you can check your levels in Camtasia. Camtasia has the level down at the bottom, and it's on all the time if you have a little window enabled. Okay? So you check for the level, and you check for the clarity. And again, you don't want overmodulated, distorted sound, and you don't want too loud. There are 5 volume and gain controls involved in this whole sequence, if you think about it, if you have a mixer. There's actually 2 in your laptop. There's the System 1 and the Camtasia 1. There's 2 in the mixers, typically in the individual one and the master gain. And then there's one on the box itself.
When it comes up, you want to click on which audio device you're using. Recommended not to use the, you guys can use the built-in because you don't have the wireless mic. But you have a choice. It'll recognize whether you have